The rain hammered against my apartment windows like tiny fists demanding entry. I stood in my kitchen, phone pressed to my ear, listening to Marcus ramble about his disastrous date while I stirred pasta sauce that I'd probably end up eating alone again. She ordered the most expensive thing on the menu. Barely touched it, then spent the entire dinner on her phone, Marcus complained, his deep voice crackling through the speaker. I'm telling you, Ethan, dating apps are a wasteland. I couldn't help but smile, despite the familiar ache in my chest. Marcus Chen had been my best friend since sophomore year of college, 7 years of shared pizza, late-night study sessions, terrible movie marathons, and me secretly dying inside every time he talked about women. Maybe you should try being more selective, I offered, draining the pasta water. You swipe right on literally everyone. That's not true. I have standards. Having a pulse doesn't count as standards, Marcus. His laugh rumbled through the phone, warm and genuine, and I felt that traitorous flutter in my stomach. After all these years, you'd think I would have gotten over my hopeless crush on my straight best friend? You'd think I would have learned. You'd be wrong. Listen, man, I'm actually calling because I need a favor, Marcus said, his tone shifting slightly. My landlord's having the building fumigated tomorrow, and I need to crash somewhere for the night. Jake's out of town, and Sarah said her place is too small. Can I stay with you? My heart jumped. Marcus, sleeping over. In my apartment? Probably wearing those gray sweatpants he always wore. Possibly shirtless. I needed therapy. Yeah, of course, I said, trying to sound casual despite my internal panic. Mi casa, es su casa. You know that? You're a lifesaver, E. I'll be there in about 20 minutes. This rain is insane. After we hung up, I looked around my apartment with fresh eyes. Did I have clean sheets on the guest bed? Was there anything embarrassingly gay lying around? I'd come out to Marcus 3 years ago, and he'd been nothing but supportive. But I still felt self-conscious sometimes. 20 minutes later, Marcus burst through my door like a drowned golden retriever, all 6 feet 2 inches of him. His black hair plastered to his forehead, water dripping from his jacket onto my hardwood floor.
Dude.
It's actually biblical out there, he said, shaking his head and sending droplets flying. I think I saw someone building an ark. Get inside before you flood my apartment, I said, grabbing a towel from the bathroom. And you're late. You said 20 minutes, 40 minutes ago? Traffic was murder. He stripped off his soaked jacket, revealing a white t-shirt that had become partially transparent from the rain. I could see the outline of his chest, the definition of his shoulders. I handed him the towel, careful not to stare. Dinner's ready if you're hungry. Made too much pasta, as usual. You're literally the best person I know. Marcus toweled off his hair, making it stick up in adorable directions. What would I do without you? Asterisk, probably date a nice girl, settle down, and break my heart from a safe distance. Asterisk, I thought. Starve. Probably, I said instead. We settled into our usual comfortable rhythm, Marcus, talking animatedly about his week while we ate. Me listening and laughing in all the right places. This was familiar territory. Safe. I'd perfected the art of being his best friend while quietly aching for something more. It was like breathing at this point. Oh, how's the art stuff going? Marcus asked, twirling spaghetti on his fork. You finished that commission you were stressing about? I illustrated children's books freelance, a career that Marcus had supported from day one. He'd been my first champion when I'd been too scared to take the leap from my soul-crushing marketing job. Finally, yes. Sent off the finals yesterday. Now I'm in that weird limbo where I've applied to like 15 projects and I'm just waiting to hear back. They'd be idiots not to hire you. Your work is incredible. Casual confidence in his voice made my chest tight. Marcus believed in me more than I believed in myself sometimes. Thanks, man. That means a lot. After dinner, we migrated to my couch with beers, falling into our typical pattern of scrolling through streaming services while playfully arguing about what to watch. Rain continued to batter the windows, creating a cozy cocoon of sound around us. Oh man, remember freshman year when we stayed up all night watching this entire trilogy? Marcus said, pointing at the TV screen. And you fell asleep during the final battle and drooled on my shoulder? I did not drool. You absolutely drooled. There was a wet spot. That's slander. but he was grinning. That crooked smile that had first made me realize I was in trouble all those years ago. We settled on a documentary about deep-sea creatures hour. Compromise when we couldn't agree, and Marcus stretched out on the couch, his long legs tangling with mine in that casually intimate way straight guys have with their friends. His shoulder pressed against mine, warm and solid. This was torture. Beautiful, exquisite torture. Halfway through, Marcus's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and groaned. "What's wrong?" I asked my brother. Gosh. Marcus sat up slightly, thumb scrolling. "He's asking if I'm bringing someone to his wedding next month. Are you?" "No, and now he's giving me grief about it." Marcus tossed his phone onto the coffee table with more force than necessary. "He keeps saying stuff like you're 30 years old. When are you going to settle down? And mom's worried about you, like being single is some kind of disease." I recognized the frustration in his voice. Marcus was a software engineer, successful and kind and objectively attractive, but he'd had a string of relationships that never quite worked out. And his traditional Chinese family had started applying pressure. "Families are complicated," I offered. "Tell me about it." "My mom literally sent me a link to a matchmaking service last week." "A matchmaking service, Ethan? Like I'm some Regency-era gentleman who needs help finding a wife." "Maybe you should go to the wedding solo," I suggested. "Own it. Confidence is attractive." Marcus looked at me, his dark eyes searching my face. "You're probably right. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm failing at something everyone else finds easy. Dating, relationships, all of it." My heart ached for him. I wanted to tell him that he wasn't failing at anything, that any woman who couldn't see how incredible he was had terrible judgment. I wanted to tell him that I'd been in love with him for years and he didn't even know it. Instead, I bumped his shoulder with mine. "You're one of the best people I know, Marcus. The right person will see that," he smiled, some of the tension leaving his shoulders. "Thanks, E." We went back to watching the documentary, but I could feel a shift in the air, something subtle and undefined. Or maybe I was just projecting, reading meaning into meaningless moments like I always did around midnight. I showed Marcus to the guest room, really just my office with a pull-out couch. I'd made it up with fresh sheets that afternoon in a fit of nervous preparation. "Sorry, it's not much," I said, demonstrating how to unfold the bed. "Are you kidding? This is perfect. Way better than breathing fumigation chemicals all night." He dumped his overnight bag on the floor. "Thanks again for letting me crash." "Anytime. You know that." I was about to leave when Marcus called my name. I turned back. "Hey, can I ask you something?" My stomach fluttered with apprehension. "Sure, how did you know?" He looked genuinely curious, not uncomfortable. "That you were gay, I mean? When did you figure it out?" We'd never really talked about this, not in depth. After I'd come out, Marcus had been immediately supportive, and we'd moved forward without dwelling on details. I leaned against the doorframe, considering my answer. I think I always kind of knew, but I didn't have words for it when I was younger. I thought everyone felt the way I did. No. That thing where straight guys talk about finding other guys attractive objectively, but not actually being attracted to them. I thought that's what I was doing. Then in high school, I realized what I felt was ... different. Deeper. It wasn't objective at all. Marcus nodded slowly, processing. "Did it scare you?" Realizing. "Terrified me," I admitted. I tried really hard to be straight for a while. Dated a couple of girls, tried to force feelings that weren't there. But you can't negotiate with your heart, you know? It wants what it wants. "Yeah," Marcus said softly. "I get that." Something in his tone made me look at him more carefully, but his expression was unreadable. "Why do you ask?" I ventured. He shrugged, but it seemed forced. "Just curious, I guess." "You're braver than I am." "I don't know about that. You're one of the bravest people I know. Maybe." He smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. "Good night, Ethan." "Night, Marcus." I retreated to my bedroom, my mind spinning. That had been odd, right? Or was I reading into things again, seeing what I wanted to see instead of what was actually there? I changed into sleep clothes and brushed my teeth, trying to quiet the questions multiplying in my head. Marcus was straight. He'd dated dozens of women. Just because he was curious about my experience didn't mean anything. I was nearly asleep when I heard a knock on my bedroom door. "Ethan, you still awake?" I sat up, turning on my bedside lamp. "Yeah, come in." Marcus opened the door, and my breath caught. He'd changed into those gray sweatpants and a thin t-shirt, his hair still damp from a shower. He looked vulnerable in a way I rarely saw him. "Sorry, I know it's late. Can I talk to you about something?" "Of course." I patted the bed beside me, and after a moment's hesitation, Marcus sat down, his weight making the mattress dip. "I can't sleep," he said. "I keep thinking about what you said earlier, about hearts wanting what they want." My pulse quickened. "Okay, the thing is," he ran a hand through his hair, a nervous gesture I recognized. "I think maybe I've been lying to myself for a long time about what I want, about who I'm attracted to." The air left my lungs in a rush. Was he saying what I thought he was saying? "Marcus, let me finish, please, before I lose my nerve." He took a shaky breath. "Every relationship I've had with women has felt like I was playing a part, going through the motions. I kept thinking I just hadn't met the right person yet, that I was being too picky. But lately I've been wondering, if the problem is that I've been looking in the wrong direction entirely." My heart was hammering so hard, I was sure he could hear it. "What are you saying?" He finally looked at me, really looked at me, and his eyes were full of fear and hope and something that made my skin feel too tight. "I'm saying that I think I might not be straight. And I think I've known for a while, but I was too scared to admit it. Too scared of what it would mean, what my family would say, how it would change everything. Marcus." I didn't know what to say. It felt surreal. Like a dream I'd had 1,000 times that was suddenly impossibly real. "There's more," he continued, his voice barely above a whisper. "I think, God, this is so hard to say. I think the reason none of those relationships worked out is because I was comparing all those women to someone else. Someone I've known for years. Someone who knows me better than anyone else and still somehow likes me anyway." Tears pricked at my eyes. "Don't say things you don't mean. I'm not." He reached out tentatively, his hand hovering near mine on the bedspread. "I'm saying that. I think I've been in love with my best friend for longer than I've been willing to admit, even to myself." A sob caught in my throat. "How long?" "I don't know exactly. It wasn't like a switch flipping. More like slowly, realizing that the sun had been there all along, and I'd just been refusing to open my eyes." He finally took my hand, his fingers warm and slightly trembling. "Remember that night 2 years ago when you had food poisoning and I stayed over to take care of you?" I nodded, not trusting my voice. "You were so miserable, and I was sitting by your bed at like 3 in the morning. You smiled at me, this tiny, grateful smile, and something in my chest just cracked open. I thought I would do anything for this person. I would sit here all night, every night, for the rest of my life if he needed me. And then I got scared because that felt too big, too intense for how you're supposed to feel about your friend, Marcus. And then when you were dating that guy, what was his name? Ryan? I was so jealous I could barely function. I told myself it was just because I didn't like him that I was being a protective friend, but it was more than that. So much more. And when you guys broke up, I was relieved, and then I felt like a terrible person for being relieved." The tears were falling now, hot tracks down my cheeks. "Why didn't you say anything?" "Because I was terrified. Because I didn't know what I was feeling, and I was worried I'd ruin everything. You're my best friend, Ethan. You're the most important person in my life. What if I was wrong? What if I was just confused, and I told you, and then things got weird between us and I lost you? You wouldn't have lost me. I couldn't risk it. But then tonight, talking about settling down and finding the right person, and you said that thing about hearts wanting what they want. I couldn't keep lying anymore. Not to you and not to myself." I was crying fully now, and Marcus was crying too, tears streaking down his face. "I need you to tell me I'm not crazy," he said, his voice breaking. "I need you to tell me you feel something too, or I need you to tell me I've ruined everything so I can start figuring out how to live with that." Instead of answering with words, I reached out and cupped his face in my hands, feeling the wetness of his tears, the slight stubble on his jaw, the realness of him. "I've been in love with you since junior year of college," I whispered. "When you stayed up all night helping me finish that portfolio for my design class, even though you had a huge exam the next day. I've been in love with you through every girlfriend, every bad date story, every time you fell asleep on my couch. I've been in love with you so long I forgot what it felt like not to love you, Ethan. So no, you're not crazy. You're not ruining anything. You're just finally seeing what's been there all along." He made a sound between a laugh and a sob, and then he was kissing me. It was soft at first, tentative, like he was asking a question. Then I kissed him back, and the tentative broke into something hungry and desperate and real. 7 years of wanting poured into that kiss. 7 years of longing and hoping and pretending not to feel what I felt. His hands tangled in my hair, pulling me closer. I wrapped my arms around his neck, barely able to believe this was happening. That Marcus Chen was kissing me in my bed at 1 in the morning while rain hammered against the windows. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he pressed his forehead to mine. "I don't know what I'm doing," he admitted. "I've never been with a guy before. I don't know how any of this works." "We'll figure it out together," I said. "There's no rush. You can go as slow as you need. I don't want to go slow." His voice was rough with want. "I've been going slow for years without realizing it. I want this. I want you. I'm just scared I'll mess it up. You won't." "How do you know?" "Because I know you. You're careful with things you care about." He kissed me again, softer this time, almost reverent. "I can't believe this is real. I know the feeling." We lay down together, Marcus curling around me like he'd done it 1,000 times before. His heartbeat thundered against my back, proof that this was real, that this was happening. "Can I stay here?" He murmured into my hair. "I don't want to go back to the guest room. You can stay anywhere you want. Forever, if you'd like." I felt him smile against my neck. Forever sounds good. We fell asleep like that, tangled together while the storm raged outside. 2 people, who had been circling each other for years, finally coming home. I woke up to golden sunlight streaming through my bedroom window and the warm weight of Marcus's arm draped across my waist. For a disorienting moment, I thought I was dreaming one of those cruel dreams where I'd wake up alone and aching. Then Marcus shifted behind me, making a sleepy sound, and his arm tightened around me. Not a dream. I carefully turned over to face him. In sleep, he looked younger, peaceful, his lips slightly parted, and his hair sticking up at odd angles. To memorize this moment, tattoo it onto my memory, so I could never forget the way morning light gilded his skin. His eyes fluttered open, and for a heartbeat there was confusion in them. Then recognition, and something that looked like wonder. "Hi," he said, his voice rough with sleep. So that really happened? Last night?" "Yeah," I confirmed, barely breathing. "That really happened. Do you? Are you okay? Any regrets?" He was quiet for a moment, and my heart sank. Then he reached out and traced my jawline with his thumb, so gentle it made my breath catch. "No regrets," he said firmly, a little scared maybe. "A lot overwhelmed, but no regrets. You." "Marcus, I've wanted this for so long that no regrets doesn't even begin to cover it," he smiled. That beautiful crooked smile that had undone me years ago. "Good, that's good." We lay there for a while, just looking at each other, occasionally touching like we needed the confirmation that this was real. His hand found mine under the blanket, our fingers interlacing. "I should probably tell you something," Marcus said eventually. "Last night wasn't completely spontaneous." I blinked. "What do you mean, the fumigation? It's not happening until next week?" My brain took a moment to process this. "Wait, you lied? About needing a place to stay?" He had the grace to look sheepish. "Not exactly. I mean, the fumigation is happening, just not yet. But I've been going crazy lately, feeling all these things I didn't understand, and I thought maybe if we spent time alone together, away from our usual hangouts and other friends, maybe I'd finally get the courage to figure out what I was feeling. Maybe I'd get a sign or something." "Marcus Chen, did you manufacture a sleepover?" "With me? When you put it that way, it sounds manipulative." It sounds brave, I corrected. Terrifying and brave. I was so nervous driving over here. I kept almost turning around. I must have rehearsed a dozen different ways to bring it up. And then you said that thing about hearts wanting what they want, and it all just came out. I'm glad it did. Me too. He shifted closer, our noses nearly touching. Can I kiss you? I know we did last night, but now it's morning, and I'm sober and fully conscious, and I just want to make sure I kissed him before he could finish the sentence, swallowing his words. This kiss was different from the ones last night. Less desperate, more exploratory. Learning the shape of each other's mouths, the rhythm of breathing together. When we broke apart, Marcus was grinning like an idiot. What? I asked. I've been fantasizing about kissing you for months, and it's so much better than I imagined. You've been fantasizing about kissing me? Oh, constantly. It was actually kind of a problem. I'd be in meetings and suddenly I'd think about what it would be like to kiss you, and I'd completely lose track of what people were saying. The idea of Marcus daydreaming about me during work meet. Ings sent a warm glow through my chest. I need you to know that I've been doing the same thing for approximately 7 years. 7 years of thinking about kissing me. That's a lot of built-up anticipation, you have no idea. Show me, he challenged, his eyes darkening slightly. So I did. I kissed him slow and deep, trying to pour 7 years of longing into it. And he responded with equal fervor, his hands sliding up my back, pulling me closer. We might have stayed in bed all morning if my phone hadn't started ringing on the nightstand. I groaned and reached for it, glancing at the screen. It's my sister, I said. I should probably take this. She never calls this early unless it's important. Marcus nodded, sitting up and running a hand through his sleep-mussed hair. He looked ridiculously attractive in the morning light. Wearing my old college t-shirt that I'd loaned him last night? Hey, Liv, I answered, trying to sound normal and not like someone who'd just spent the night making out with his best friend, Ethan. Oh, thank God. I need your help. My sister's voice was panicked, which immediately put me on alert. Olivia was a pediatric surgeon and generally unflappable. What's wrong? Is everyone okay? Yes, everyone's fine. It's just... Okay, you know how Mom's been planning this massive family brunch for today? The one where she's inviting literally everyone we've ever met? I'd completely forgotten. Right? The brunch. I was supposed to help her set up, but I got called into emergency surgery 20 minutes ago. A kid came in with appendicitis. I'm going to be here for hours. And you know, Mom, she's going to be so stressed trying to do everything herself. I glanced at Marcus, who was watching me with curiosity. So you want me to go help her, please? I know it's last minute, but she's been looking forward to this for weeks. She'll be devastated if it's a disaster. I sighed. My mother's brunches were legendary in our family elaborate affairs, with 12 different dishes and enough food to feed an army. She loved hosting, but she also tended to take on too much and then get overwhelmed. I'll head over there. You're the best brother ever. I owe you. After hanging up, I looked at Marcus apologetically. So, this is embarrassing, but I have to go help my mom with this family brunch thing. My sister was supposed to help, but she got called into surgery. Do you want company? Marcus offered. I'm pretty good at following directions in a kitchen. You don't have to do that. I know family stuff can be Ethan. He took my hand. I want to. Unless you don't want me there? I definitely want you there. I just don't want you to feel obligated. I'm not obligated. I'm choosing. There's a difference. 20 minutes later, we were in my car heading to my parents' house in the suburbs. Mark humming along to the radio while I drove. It felt surreally domestic, the kind of thing couples did. Were we a couple now? We hadn't really defined anything. We'd confessed feelings, kissed a lot, spent the night together, sleeping, mostly. But what did that make us? You're overthinking something, Marcus observed. I can hear your brain worry from here. I'm just wondering what we tell people about us when they ask. What do you want to tell them? I don't know. What are we? Marcus reached over and took my hand, threading our fingers together on the center console. I'd like to be your boyfriend, if you want that too. I know it's fast, and I'm still figuring things out, but I don't want to pretend this is casual. Not with you. Boyfriend. I tested the word out loud. Marcus Chen is my boyfriend. Is that okay? That's more than okay. That's perfect. We pulled into my parents' driveway. Behind several other cars, I recognized my aunt's minivan, my cousin's sedan, my uncle's truck. Fair warning, I said as we got out. My family is a lot. They're going to ask you a million questions, and my mom will try to feed you until you explode. I've met your family before, remember? I know, but this is different. This is a mom event. She goes into hostess overdrive. Marcus just grinned. I can handle it. My mother opened the door before we could knock, her face lighting up with relief. Ethan. Oh, thank goodness. And Marcus. What a wonderful surprise. She pulled us both into hugs, smelling like vanilla and stress. I'm so behind schedule. The quiche isn't setting properly, and I forgot to buy cream for the fruit salad. Your father can't find the good serving platters. We're here to help, I assured her. Just tell us what you need. For the next hour, Marcus and I were put to work. He chopped vegetables for the frittata while I assembled individual parfaits. My dad roped him into helping move furniture to make room for the buffet table. And I watched with poorly concealed amusement as Marcus charmed my entire family. It's always been so helpful. That Marcus, my aunt, commented to me while we arranged pastries on a platter. And so handsome. Are you sure you two are just friends? I nearly dropped a croissant. I'm just saying, you've been friends for years and neither of you can keep a relationship. Maybe you're looking in the wrong places. Before I could formulate a response, my cousin Sarah bounded over. My God, is Marcus single? Because my friend Jenna has been asking about him, and I think they'd be perfect together. Actually, I started... Sarah, leave Ethan alone, my mother called from across the kitchen. And someone tell your uncle that the mimosas need more orange juice. They're 90% champagne. Crisis averted, I thought. But it made me wonder, should we tell people today? Was Marcus ready for that? Was I? I found him on the back deck, helping my dad set up extra chairs. Your family is great, he said when he saw me. Your dad's been telling me stories about you as a kid. Apparently you once tried to give the family cat a haircut. I was 7 and thought he was too hot in the summer. We don't talk about that. Marcus laughed, and my dad excused himself to check on something inside, leaving us alone. Everyone's going to figure it out, you know, I said quietly. The way I look at you, I'm not exactly subtle. Would that be so bad? I just want to make sure you're ready. This is all new for you, and I don't want to pressure. He kissed me. Quick and soft. Stop overthinking. I'm ready. I want people to know. I'm not ashamed of this of us. Are you? God, no. The opposite. I want to shout it from the rooftops. Then let's tell them. Together. As if on cue, my mother's voice rang out. Everyone. Brunch is ready. Come inside. The dining room was packed with family parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, and a few family friends. My mother had outdone herself with the spread, quiches, frittatas, fresh fruit, pastries, smoked salmon, and at least 3 types of breakfast potatoes. Once everyone had filled their plates, spot and settled into various spots around the house, my mother clinked her glass for attention. I just want to thank everyone for coming, she said. Family is so important, and I love having you all here. And special thanks to Ethan and Marcus for saving the day when Olivia got called into work. There was a murmur of appreciation, and I felt Marcus's hand find mine under the table. Actually, Mom, I heard myself saying, Marcus and I have something we'd like to share. The room got quiet. Marcus squeezed my hand encouragingly. Marcus and I are together, I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart. As in dating. We're boyfriends. For a moment there was silence. Then my aunt started clapping, and suddenly everyone was talking at once. I knew it, Sarah exclaimed. Finally, my dad muttered. Though he was smiling, my mother's eyes were bright with tears. Oh, sweetheart. Both of you. This is wonderful news. The rest of brunch was a blur of hugs and congratulations and well-meaning questions. My family embraced the news with overwhelming enthusiasm, and I watched Marcus gradually relax, his smile becoming more genuine as he realized he was completely accepted. Later, as we helped clean up, My mother pulled me aside in the kitchen.
You're happy?
She observed. It wasn't a question. Really happy, Mom? Good, that's all I've ever wanted for you. She kissed my cheek. Marcus is a good man. You're good for each other. On the drive home, Marcus was quiet, staring out the window with a small smile. Penny, for your thoughts? I asked. I was just thinking about how easy that was. Coming out to your family. They were so ... accepting. And you're worried about your family? He nodded. My parents are more traditional. I don't know how they'll react. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Together. You don't have to tell them until you're ready. I want to tell them. I just need to figure out how. Back at my apartment, we collapsed onto the couch. Exhausted from the emotional roller coaster of the past 24 hours. So this is us now, Marcus said, pulling me against his side. Boyfriends. Out to your family? This is real. Is it everything you imagined? It's better. It's so much better. The next few weeks existed in a golden haze of new relationship bliss. Marcus stayed over most nights, and we fell into an easy domesticity that felt both thrilling and completely natural. We cooked meals together, binged entire TV series, and spent hours just talking about everything we'd held back over the years. But there was a shadow looming. Marcus still hadn't told his family. I tried to be patient and understanding. I knew his relationship with his parents was complicated, that cultural expectations weighed heavily on him. His older brother David was married with 2 kids, the golden child who'd checked all the traditional boxes. Marcus felt like he was constantly falling short by comparison. David called again, Marcus said one evening, stirring the pasta sauce I'd started. We were cooking. Dinner together, which had become our routine, asking if I'm bringing a +1 to the wedding. David's wedding was in 2 weeks, the same wedding Marcus had been stressing about since that first night he'd stayed over. What did you tell him? Why, I said maybe. He's getting annoyed that I won't give him a straight answer. Marcus laughed bitterly at his own unintentional pun. No pun intended. Do you want me to come with you? I asked carefully. I'd understand if you're not ready for that. That's the thing, I do want you there. I want to introduce you as my boyfriend and tell everyone the truth. But my parents will be there, and my entire extended family, and He set down the spoon, running his hands through his hair in frustration. I'm a coward. You're not a coward. You're scared. There's a difference, is there? Because from where I'm standing, they look pretty similar. I moved behind him, wrapping my arms around his waist and resting my cheek against his back. You came out to me, came out to my family. You're out to Jake and Sarah and all our friends. It's not nothing. That takes incredible courage. But they're not my parents. They're not the people whose approval I've been seeking my entire life. I turned him around to face me. I know. And I know you're worried about disappointing them. But Marcus, you're not a disappointment. You're amazing. And if they can't see that, if they can't love and accept you for who you are, that's their loss. Easy to say when your parents threw you a party when you came out. My parents didn't throw me a party. They might as well have. They were so supportive it was almost annoying. It was deflecting with humor, which I recognized as a defense mechanism. I let him have it, kissing his forehead and changing the subject to safer topics. But